Hi, hi everyone. We will be starting in 5 minutes. Hi everyone, am I audible? Hello. Hi guys, thanks a bunch for joining in. I am Ayush Jaiswal, Cabinet Head of English Learning Program. I welcome you all for the first session in our interview prep series, Demystifying Interviews. In this session, Kadambari and Siddharth, final year students who are currently interning at Caltech and UIUC on-site, will walk you through how you can write good and impactful SOPs, cover letters, and emails. And this will definitely help you with the research opportunity that you have been looking for. So, Kadambari, you can take this forward.
Um, Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Let me just share my screen. Yeah, is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, ELP, for like having me and Siddharth here today. And very excited to like just share some of the things that we have learned. I have learned over the past couple of months, especially the last year when I was applying for internships. And yeah, just wishing you guys all the best for whatever you're working for. Today I will be covering some of the basics of like SOP writing and apping. Like Ayush mentioned, I'm like a final year student in chemical engineering department. And a little bit about me. So in my second year, I was part of student support services in UGAC. And in my third year, I was a part of the tech team iGEM, which is one of the new tech teams on campus. In as far as my internships go, last year I was an intern in Pfizer, where which I had gotten externally, where I was working on bioprocess experimental like data. It was more data science related work, but yeah, it was the data was related to like bio, and that's something that excited me. So it was a great experience to like see how pharma companies work, and that was my experience at Pfizer. And this year, interestingly, I have been lucky enough to get selected for the summer internship program at Caltech in US. So like I'll walk you guys through my experiences in today's talk. And apart from that, today I will be talking about SOPs, which is your statement of purpose, as well as some of the uni internship apping experiences that I've had, and how you could potentially apply to the different programs that will be open for you guys in the coming months. So let us begin with the SOP part of the presentation. So, like recently, even in my internship, we have had a lot of talks where they guide us for like how we can have good applications for higher education, for grad school. So, these are some of the concepts that I also learned quite recently. But when you have to like submit applications for different programs, you have to write a lot of different uh, essays, answers to different questions, and sometimes it gets quite confusing as to what each of these terms means. So, like, let us just begin with that. So, SOP, which is the main highlight of today's talk, is the statement of purpose. So, it is like a 1 to 2 page document where you basically describe the whole journey or story that you have had in research, or all of the work that you've done, and give like a narrative. So, the next point is like a CV, which is very similar to the resumes that you will be making for your internship season. So in your resume or CV, you basically list down all of the things that you've done in different categories, all of the achievements that you've had, any awards that you've won, the projects that you've done, any other outreach work, social work, or PRs that you've had. So it's kind of like a bulleted list, and has like a fixed template, and is very formal in some sense. But SOP is something that you can look at as like an explanation to your CV. So why you did what you did, and a little bit of details about what you've mentioned in your CV. And the final type of essay that you may have to write is like a personal statement. So a personal statement is basically, yeah, it's a lot more personal and less about your research. It's more about your values, about your personality, about what are the things that speak to you as a person. So it kind of helps anyone who's reading it gauge who you are, apart from like all your achievements or the work you've done. Who are you aside from all of that? So that's the main difference between these three essays that you might have to write or might have to submit to any programs that you apply to. And all of these together like make up you as a good applicant for any program, and that's the best way you can represent yourself to like a college or to anyone who's reading your application. So going deeper into the SOP, so I have listed down like a couple of bullets there which you can highlight through the SOP. But like I said, you can look at it like an essay. It'll have a fixed number of paragraphs, which I will talk about in the coming slides. But overall, you want to like highlight all of the qualifications that you've had, all of the achievements that you've had so far in your undergraduate experience, even your school life, anything that is very impactful. Then you want to highlight your work or research experiences, any projects that you worked on, and also you want to present yourself as a candidate for something, right? So you want to know, you want the reviewer to know like what you want to do in your life, what is your motivation, what drives you, what are your future goals, and why are you like, why do you want to work in this field? What do you think you can contribute to wherever you're applying? So like basically it's about building a good narrative, explaining all of the things that you've done so far. And one thing is very important here is that it's okay if you don't have a lot of positive outcomes or like a lot of success. It's more important to highlight what you learned from like each experience. So if you worked for on a project for a semester and then just stopped continuing it or did not get a good outcome, or like were not able to fulfill or solve your problem statement, that's fine. You just need to know how to present uh, your project in a way that explains why you did it, why did you take it up, what did you actually do in that semester, and what did you learn from this whole experience of doing that project. So that is more important, because research is like all about failures and trying and trying and trying. So I think anyone who's reviewing your SOP understands that. So even here in my internship, they've been telling us that it's about what you learned rather than what you achieved. So learnings will definitely outweigh the outcomes. Uh, so yeah, a few more points to note. Basically, the people that who will be reading your SOP will be like faculty members from different departments wherever you're applying. So your SOP, when you're talking about your research experiences, can be quite technical, although you don't want to get into like a huge amount of detail, but you can use like your certain like terms of like scientific terms that you worked on. Like the people reading it will have decent enough like understanding and background in your field, so you can get a little technical just to show that just to show the genuine interest that you have in that field, and just to showcase all of the things and the exposure that you have had in that domain. So yeah, like basically you want to highlight your learnings, you want to highlight your motivation. You also want to highlight a lot of soft skills that you might have learned along the way. So it's like a good balance between, okay, I did this project, I worked on these things, but you also want to put in like a few sentences here and there which talk about how you learn to collaborate, how you learn to communicate, because all of this really matters in science as a whole. So like if you worked on a project and then got to like present it in like a department meeting or something like that, or to like a panel of faculty members, you can highlight that in the end, that maybe after working on this for 6 months, I had the opportunity to present my work to 6 faculty members from my department and I got feedback from them. So like things like these show that you're willing to talk about the work that you've done. You're willing to take in feedback from like other people in the field. So basically you want to show that uh, you have a little bit of feel about what research is, and it's not just like a single person doing amazing things. That's not what research is. So it's okay if your SOP is quite real and genuine. That's what makes it a good SOP, in my opinion. So okay, now that we know what an SOP is, yeah, like how do you start writing this? So you cannot write your SOP ideally in like a day or like in one all-nighter. I think it'll be a better SOP if you like at least give it a couple of days. So you want to just start by, even this is applicable even for your resume, but mainly you want to like list down all the things that you've done, maybe after coming to campus, or all the things that you've done like all the things that you've done which are really impactful, maybe from your schooling years. But you want to like also add in like, okay, so if you did 3 projects, or if you did 2 projects, and like one seminar or an SLP course, or an R&D elective, you want to list them down, and then you want to also think about how can you explain why you did them, and also what were the learnings that you had from each of those experiences. And then you have to organize all of the things that you want to highlight in your SOP. And even though you might have explored like 5 different fields, that's fine. If your projects are very diverse, that's fine. As long as you can explain why you decided to explore those fields, and what was the outcome, what was the learning that you had after each thing, and how it led you to the next thing, uh, you can write an amazing SOP. So you just need to organize it really well. Also, you don't need to put in everything that you did. You don't need to put in probably some group project that you did in your first year where you did not really learn much, or were not able to contribute that much. You don't need to write it, because the things that you write in your SOP uh, may be asked about in the interviews that follow. So in the interview, the professor or the faculty who liked your SOP might want to know uh, and hear about the things that you've written. So if you don't think it's impactful, if you don't think you gained enough understanding about whatever you're writing, you can just eliminate those experiences, because it's fine if you had like a small amount of research experience, but you learned a lot, rather than writing about tens of different things that you did, but you did not really go into depth in any of those fields. So yeah, just keep in the like eliminate things as much as you can, and just restrict yourself to the key things that you want to highlight. uh, in one of the sessions that I had here during my internship, they told us about some of the questions that we can ask in order to identify which experiences are impactful. So, if there is any project or any work that you did, or an internship that you did where you learned how to solve a problem from scratch, that is definitely something that you should put in your SOP. Or if there was something where you got to choose your own problem statement, or you got to work on your own idea, you let your curiosity drive you, that's definitely something that is very valuable as a scientist. And then if there's a moment in your college life, or when you met someone, or you heard about something, or you read about something that really inspired you, or that got you excited about this field, that's how you decided to explore it in detail, you should definitely give some context so that the person reading it can relate to you better. So these are some of the questions that you can ask. Also, some of the times you can have some simple experience, but you can write it in a way so that it showcases one of these questions that someone might want to ask you. So it's okay if you do not solve a problem like directly on the face value, but if there's some small experience that you had in that whole project where you got to solve a problem, you can make sure that you highlight it, so that it just makes your experience more impactful, and uh, puts you as a better candidate. So like avoid writing sentences like I'm a problem solver, or I don't give up, I always uh, keep trying and trying, but saying things like that won't make people believe that you are what you're saying you are. So it's better that you write an example through your experiences, and show the quality that you want to highlight. So like this was one of the examples that was given to us in one of the seminars that we had here. So you can just talk about how hundreds of your experiments failed, or like tens of your experiments failed, but then you decided to like not give up, and now you're trying out another way to do that thing. And you don't need to be successful at even the second way, but it's the fact that you are trying it a different way, which matters to anyone who's reading it. So always try to think of examples to showcase whatever qualities you want to write in your SOP. uh, so once you know what all you are going to write in your SOP, you should just start writing it. This I find is like the hardest part, where you actually just have to sit in front of your laptop and like start typing. And your first draft can be like really, really bad, and that's fine. But as long as you have like some sentences, some paragraphs that start making sense, you can keep editing and editing it till it gets a little better. And yeah, so just start writing. That's the best thing you can do. And yeah, show don't tell. So basically just give examples for whatever you want to tell your reader. Be authentic, be genuine, talk about your failures if you had any. Like, that's completely fine. And one advice that we got here at Caltech was that really avoid using AI or ChatGPT for your SOPs, because uh, I think in case if it's like detected or caught, it can like just damage your whole application, and you really don't want to take that risk. Also, if you have a first draft that's created by ChatGPT, it's really hard. You like need to spend like a lot more time in correcting it or making it more human-like, or yeah, like basically cleaning it up takes much more time than a very horrible draft that you had written authentically. So that's just the advice that we got here about you know using AI in general. And a typical SOP has like 3 paragraphs. So the first para is like an introductory para, where you set the setting, you give context about why you're interested in that field, something that has drawn you towards this field, and a little bit about you. And then you can start going into the details, which is the body, where you basically talk about all of your experiences, your research journey, and also if there's specific prompts that they have given. Many a times different universities give prompts about what are the questions that they're trying to ask you. So then that's the time where you basically just look at your question given to you and make sure that you're answering each and every point in your body. And the final para is like very specific to the program that you're applying to. So if you're applying to like 5 universities, your intro might really be very similar in all of the 5 applications. Even the body to some extent is pretty much the same, unless the prompts are very different for a particular university, unless a particular university is really asking something specific in their SOP. Otherwise, body remains pretty much the same, because your experiences are not going to change based on your application, unless you want to highlight different parts of your journey. But the program para is what you want to rewrite for every application. So, for example, if I was applying at Caltech, I would want to look at the faculty members that are there at Caltech. I would want to see which professors I would like to work with. And I would like to mention it in my final para, saying that, getting an opportunity to work at Caltech really excites me, because of the different people that I'll get to collaborate with. I think I would really enjoy working with Professor XYZ, given his expertise in this field. And I think I can apply my experiences from this project and really learn about their applications or something like that. So basically, what you want to do is you want to highlight specific faculty members that you want to work with. And this is a good practice anyways, because if you're applying to any college, you do want to look at the faculty members. You want to see what is this sort of research being done there, and if you are a good fit for that school. So um, it really helps in both ways. You understand that you are excited and enthusiastic about this program or this college, and also it helps you write this last para where you can be specific, and it shows that you've done your research, and it shows that you are not just copy pasting the same application everywhere. You are specifically excited about this school. uh, Also, one tip that we got to know here during one of the sessions that I had in my internship was that you can also highlight some of the non-research aspects about that college or that program. So like one example that they gave us was, if I'm someone who is like very enthusiastic about promoting, like, say, science or STEM research in women, or if I'm really excited about doing social work, or science outreach, where I get to collaborate with my fellow scientists, or like students, and get to like go out and teach people, or like show experiments to the community, do something very cool and exciting, or like sort of an outreach event. So if that's something that really excites me, and that's something I've done in my college, I can look at if the program that I'm applying to has some events or has some bodies that work on similar lines, and then I can also mention that in my final line, that also Caltech has this body which works in this area, and I'm really excited to have the opportunity to even collaborate with them apart from my scientific interests, and continue the work that I've been doing in my UG. So, that really shows that you really read about the college that you're applying. You really read about the experience that you're going to have if you were to join this college. So, if you can make the final para really specific and really show how you can gel well in this atmosphere, that really leaves like an impactful ending to your SOP. So definitely read up about that. Uh, yeah, so like this is just what I said. If you put a personal spin, you can just engage the person who's reading it a little better. Also, one thing that I did was I did use Grammarly to like correct the grammar for my paragraphs, or like shorten my sentences. So that does help. But the best thing to do, in my opinion and experience, is that just get your SOPs or your uh, essays reviewed by as many people as you can. So if you have a friend who can write really well, or your parents who are very particular about your language, or just anyone who's genuinely just trying to help you out or just wants you to do well, you can just reach out to them and be like, hey, can you give my SOP a read? Can you just recommend something to me? You can, what you can do is upload your SOP or essay on a Google Drive and send the link to your friends, families, or seniors, or even the people that you have done research with or have worked in the lab with you, because they can also help you frame the paragraphs about your project better. Maybe they have a better suggestion about how you can make your project seem more impactful. So the people that you worked with will always be able to like give you very valuable feedback. So you can just send this drive link to anyone and they can comment out whatever feedback they have. And don't get scared if you get a lot of comments, because that's what usually happens. I remember one of the first drafts that I had written, and I sent it to my mentor for like reviewing, and I got like at least like 50 comments on that Google Doc. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? But then, all of those comments were just like someone trying to genuinely help me out. So you just have to be patient. You have to look at every comment, see if it makes sense to you, and make the changes. And it'll only help you better and better your writing, and have you like submit a better SOP. Uh, yeah, like definitely look out for grammar, like make sure your grammar and punctuation is correct. Make sure that you are within the word limit. Always follow the rules, or like the specific prompts that are given to you. Make sure that you're answering all the questions that they have asked. Make sure that it fits in for all the requirements that are specific to the program that you're applying. One thing that you can also do is that if you have a good relationship with like a professor, or you've worked with them, you can also just reach out to them and get their feedback too. Because a professor is likely the closest you can have, uh, to the person who's actually going to be reviewing your SOP, because that person is also going to be a professor most likely. So if your professor gives you some feedback, he is the only one who will see it from like a faculty point of view. So if that works out for you, then I'm sure it will be like very valuable to take in their suggestions. So I mean, there's nothing wrong in like asking, right? So you can just be genuine with them, and if they help out, great. So that is that. And then yeah, like these are some of the examples of an SOP that I found online. I personally have to apply for grad school this coming semester, so I don't have any SOPs written as of yet. But the best SOP examples and uh, relevant resources that you can find is just by asking seniors and alums of IITB, and just see who is doing the program that you want to do and just reach out to them. And I'm sure that, at least in my experience, all the people are really, really helpful. So if you know someone who's applied or has been successful in getting an acceptance from, say, an XYZ college that you really want to go to, just reach out to them, ask them how was their process, have a call with them, ask them if they could share their SOPs or review your SOP. Even that would be really, really helpful. So yeah, like just that is the best thing. Go to LinkedIn, see who are the people that are currently doing the things that you want to do, and don't be afraid to like reach out. So that is that. And then yeah, so that was mostly what I wanted to say about SOPs in general. uh, Now, like, moving on to some of the general tips that I had for different programs in case you guys are applying for internships in research. uh, One very useful resource is this uni intern booklet that UGAC has released, and it releases one like every year, I think. So be sure to look out for that on NPAR or Career Cell's Instagram bio, or just Google it. And then I have given the link for last year's booklet, and they have like really nicely organized everything in terms of like the different programs that you can apply to, and the deadlines based on the months that they're due. So basically, like in November, these are the programs in Asia which will have their applications due. So make sure that you have resources like this at your tip, and that you reach out to seniors and stuff, so that you are like organized and you know what's coming. So also, like, if you are going to need LORs for your application, which most of the time you do. So for internships you will need like 2 LORs from professors, which is letters of recommendation. And for higher education, masters or PhD, you will probably need 3 letters of recommendation. So keep that in mind as you start your semester, and think about the professors that know you personally, and who you are comfortable enough to ask for an LOR from, and do have this conversation with them much in advance. And what I did was that I identified 2 3 professors that I think would be very helpful in my applications and who would be okay writing me a letter. So I reached out to them like in the beginning of the semester itself, and I told them that I scheduled a meet with them, and then I told them that so I'm planning to apply to these universities most likely, and I might need letters of recommendation around this time, and I'll send you reminders. And if you're okay, please let me know. So then they were already in the loop. So whenever I had a deadline, I used to just send them a mail and tell them that this is the deadline. And then, of course, you have to be very prompt, keep reminding them because they're usually very busy. But also, if someone refuses to give you a letter of recommendation, you will know that in advance. So you can ask out other professors, right? So make sure that that is clear, because they will not be able to do that for you at the very last minute. So being in advance always helps. Also, one thing, later in the session we'll be talking about mailing, but one thing that really mattered to me and some of my friends who are apping is that if you're sending a mail like to the US or to Europe, make sure that your time zones match. Like, if you send a mail to them from India, and it reaches to their mailbox at like 2 a.m. in the night, or like the night before, and then the next day they have so many mails that have come up in the morning that your mail goes like at the very end and no one really reads it. So that's just going to be bad for you in terms of people reading your mails. So whenever you're mailing someone, just make sure the time zone and make sure that they get it on the morning, like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. of their weekday. And I think that's the best way to make sure that your mails have a higher chance of people replying. So that's just something that I wanted to share with you. And yeah, like generally applying to different universities, reaching out to professors, just takes time and it takes a lot of patience. So don't take it personally. The people that you're trying to reach out are just really busy and are really, really smart and tied up with like some very cool research. So it's not you, but it just takes time, multiple reminders, reaching out to multiple people, and then someone will hopefully reply. Right. So it's all about like chance, about the good timing, about just trying and trying till you have something in your hand. So it's like a long journey. So just be prepared to wait it out, and like it's really worth it in the end. Also, one thing that I did was that I had an Excel with like different universities listed out, all of the professors that I liked from that university, their research areas, their email IDs, and like the status, like if I had sent them a mail, or if I had gotten a reply for them, or if I had gotten a rejection from them, or if I had to send them another reminder because I did not get any reply. So this sort of a thing just helps you like save time later. You don't need to like Google the professor again in case you get a reply. You already have the research areas in the Excel sheet or a link to their website. Or yeah, it just helps your life remain a little sorted, and helps you like, reach out to many, many professors so that you have a better shot of someone replying back to you. And then one thing that was very interesting that I found out after coming to Caltech was that some of the students that are doing internships here did not really reach out to the professors. They reached out to like the PhD students or the postdoc students in a particular lab that excited them. And the chance that they will reply to you is much higher than a professor, because the professors are just much more busier. So some of the students here really got their internship because some PhD student was really excited about their mail and reached out to them, and then reached out to the professor saying that, hey, can we have this person work with us? And the professors are usually quite kind towards people who seem genuine. So if you're able to build a good connect with some of the students in a particular lab, uh, they can also help you reach out to the professor. So definitely try that out. Maybe that will work and help out some of you. So if you start earlier, it's better, like I said. And any advice helps. So I personally also had like a very uh, detailed conversation with some of the professors that I thought would give me good advice. And just being honest about all the things that you're feeling, being honest about, the uncertainty or like uh, the lack of confidence that you may feel from time to time. Just being honest about it and talking it out to people who are seniors or who are alums or who are your own professors really helps, because in the end they're all human beings, so there's nothing to be scared about, because they are also trying to help you out and trying to make sure that you get good opportunities. And for all you know, sometimes your own professors have contacts in different universities. So if you're having a bit of bad luck and you reach out to some professor that you really like, they may just be able to call someone and set you up someplace, right? So sometimes opportunities do open up just like that. So just talk to people, tell them about your plans and get their advice, and that will really help. So yeah, coming towards the end of this talk, I would just like to talk about my personal journey at Caltech. So basically, Caltech has a SURF program, which is Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship, where they take in interns for the summer. So it's a 10-week program. So I came to know about SURF through the booklet that I was talking about, and it seemed like a really good program. But one thing different about SURF is that to apply to the program, you already need to have a professor who's willing to take you in their lab. So you need to have a professor who agrees to take you for the internship. You need to make a project proposal with the professor or someone in his lab, and then submit it in your application. So you can't really apply if you do not have a positive response from a professor, which is actually really hard because most of the profs are very busy and don't reply. Because in other internship programs, you can apply and you basically sometimes have to give names of professors that you think you can work with, and you can apply regardless of any positive responses that you have gotten. But for Caltech, having the connection with the professor before your application is important. So for me, this professor reached out to our department, chemical engineering, at IIT Bombay, and he reached out to one of the professors in our department, and then he sent out a mail saying that, hey, this professor at Caltech is looking for an intern. So whoever's interested, please reach out to me. And then some of us reached out, and we had a set of interviews. Uh, and then we just basically had a conversation with the actual professor, and then I was grateful enough and lucky enough to be selected. And then we worked on the project proposal, which was a little bit like a scientific document where we were just talking about the background of this project. What are we going to do? What's the plan for the summer? How am I going to spend my time when I come to campus? Some of the literature review for the project. So all of this was done before the application itself. And then we had to submit this project proposal in the actual application for the internship. And then the results of the internship were announced. So most of the time, the success rate of the applications being converted into an acceptance is pretty high because you already have a professor ready to take you. So and that's how basically I got my internship. But one thing that I wanted to share about this whole thing was that before my interview, uh, sometimes you obviously want to read the research papers or like want to know and learn about the research that your professor has done, whoever is interviewing you. You want to know their background, you want to basically spend some time reading about them. But sometimes reading research papers about professors seems really difficult because it's difficult to understand all of the complexities that are mentioned in the research paper. So for me, uh, it becomes really difficult to get this quick understanding about whatever work the professor is doing because it's really hard and difficult and very scientific. So what I usually do is I just Google them up. I go to YouTube, see if they have given any talks or lectures about their research. So in my case, my professor had given a talk at a particular conference or like a session, and the recording was available on YouTube. So it was like a 1 hour video. And I was like, hey, I can listen and watch a 1 hour video. So through that video, I basically got to hear my professor speak. I got to listen to him talk about his own research. And that was like very helpful in getting the background that I needed for my interview. And I also got a lot of the key concepts of his research clear. So after that, I glimpsed through some of his research papers and his lab website. And in the interview, I was able to use some of the things that I heard him talk in that video, and that really helped me out. So sometimes just searching them up and seeing if they have any good talks or something that introduces who they are to you, that really helps before an interview. So that's just something that I wanted to share in case it helps some of you in the future. And yeah, like just be honest in any interview, just be very genuine. If they ask you a question that you don't know, you can just tell them that I'm not sure or I don't know. You don't need to like come up with some answer because they're obviously going to be like an expert in that field. They'll probably immediately know that you are lying or that you are not as good as you said you are. So it's just better to be honest. You're not expected to know the answers to every question. They just want to know if you're willing to learn, if you're enthusiastic. You can just say that, okay, I don't know this, but this seems exciting. Can you tell me more about it? And then even that is a good way to, get over the fact that you did not know the answer. So that's just some general advice that I've realized after giving a lot of interviews, that just be genuine, try to have a conversation with the person that you're talking to, and then it just becomes a little less scary. So that is all that I had to say, and thank you so much for like joining in on a weekend and listening to me speak. And if you guys have any questions or just want to reach out or like have a chat, you can message me on WhatsApp, and yeah, we can talk there. So, wishing you all the very best for wherever you're planning to apply or whatever you want to do in life. And yeah, hope to see you around in Insta. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kadambari, for joining in. I'm sure the insights that you have shared will help us a lot. And also in the end, guys, we will be having a Q&A section, and Siddharth, you can carry it on.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible, Siddharth.
Okay, so I'll be presenting it. Wait, just a
Yeah, sure.
minute. So is it visible?
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Yes. So good afternoon, everyone. And like I'm very thankful to the ELP for conducting this event, and I really wanted to like share all the learnings I have like gathered over the years at IIT, about like apping and cold mailing, and specifically about cold mailing. Like as an IITian, a cold mailing can be a very powerful tool for grabbing opportunities, like as much as possible you can think of. So to begin with, about myself. So my name is Siddharth Verma. I am currently a final year undergrad in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. And coming to my past experiences, like I did my first intern at ISI Kolkata after my first year, and after that I did my second year with a professor at NYU. That was in INSEM only, but I used to write codes for him. And then in third year winter, I intern with a professor at NUS. Actually, it was NUS Business School, but still it was like on the topic of analytics. And then coming to University College London, it was also on particularly on generative AI. And then I finally got here at UIUC, where I am working on physics based generative modeling. So this is like all the knowledge I have. So to coming to the point, I would be like giving a very straightforward answer about like how to like prepare your CV, what should be there actually, and how to find the right internship. And the third is the email writing part, and the fourth would be like finally the Q&A, as Ayush has said. So but before that, let's debunk some myths. um, let's talk about resume and CV. What should actually be there when you are cold mailing? Because whatever text you write in your email, at the end your professor and his PhD students would be reviewing your resume and CV, and it is the most critical part actually. So what is needed in a CV? A high GPA or your past achievements, something school or even at university, or signing projects like you have done a lot of projects in different fields or in a specific field, or you have a tech team or a position of responsibility you had been carrying along for a long time. But no, actually this isn't the thing. The thing is like when you are applying to the top schools, particularly to the top schools in the US or the Europe, you need to have a demonstrated work or skill. Like there should be something which creates an impact on the real life actually. To point as I'm speaking, the work you have done at your university or like at previous interns, it should have some real life impact. Like you could be saying like how much earlier algorithms were working and how your algorithm is changing this domain, or either it can be a very new pioneering work. Like earlier this wasn't something that couldn't be thought of, but now you have come up with something which is truly extraordinary. Like it's one of its kind in India, nobody does. And Also, uh, your resume should reflect that you can work effectively in teams, genuinely and effectively. And I tell you why. Because in all the US top schools, you have uh, big research groups, so you would always be working collaboratively with them. Like, you would have person who has done some experimental work and has given you that data. You need to actually talk to that person when you are like creating some algorithms on that experiment data to get that insights. So talking to someone, explaining them your ideas, and also you should be a more of a good listener, and you should always keep the points noted. Like, when I came here in the UIUC, so I always used to keep some points on daily basis, what my advisor and then other PhDs whom with I'm working, they give me feedback, and that is very very valuable. So, like, these are the things that could be demonstrated in your resume. Suppose, like, you have done some projects where you had multiple people working with you, so you can just articulate your feedbacks, or even how much iterations you have gone through in your research. Like, in a particularly when we go for a publication or something, mostly it is like 5 or 6 iteration is a minimum thing. So, and that needs to be gone through every member that is included that part of your project. And when you are doing something alone, it should demonstrate that you were able to solve something which was thought of to be like impractical or impossible truly, but you took up that challenge to innovate something new in that area or in that domain. So that is the level of, like, you should have that hands-on skill, I would say, at max. Like, you should have, you should be able to, you shouldn't like rely on when you are taking in a research group, particularly when you are taking up some part, you aren't relying on somebody else to always do this work. You should always try to come up out of those hurdles by yourself only. And this is something which your research project or your supervised learning project, or like it could be like external other internships also, which demonstrate this capability of yours. So, and also, like, this is like I've taken like the real strength is comes from being the best of you can be. Like, and these things also would be very very unnecessary when you are writing your email, explaining who are you and what are you good at, like what have you worked, and like when what makes you you, like at the point. Like, even speaking for myself, like I have done in lot of domains. Like, the point where I did my first intern, it was on cryptography, like not related to machine learning completely. But time by time, as like, you need to evolve yourself also. And when you are writing your email, that is also seen by the PhDs and the professors. Because, like, uh, as Karnambari has said, like, because like there are actually two reasons somebody would actually give you a research internship in the US or Europe. First would be like they want to showcase some international exposure to certain students, and the second is like they want to take up you as some PhDs in the future. And that is the thing, like the second point is something which actually you can aim for. Like, you can do the intern there and eventually you can go for PhD. So even for myself, when I came here to UIUC, I was already like offered a PhD position here. So when then I'm applying next year, I already know that I would be already accepted in this department and in this uh, university. So it's actually something you can do. It's not impossible. Like, a year ago, I never thought I would be actually be going for a PhD or even higher studies or something. But I had this, like, you would see, like, eventually a lot of things can happen if you're truly focusing on learning. So to now coming to the point, how to find the right research internship. So as like Kadambari had before said, like you can start getting to know different summer research programs offered across the world, or you can search for research articles of your interest to find professors. So the second point, when you are like, there would be some domain you are actually working in or interested in, so you can go to Google Scholar and search research papers in that domain. And then also you can, if you have certain priorities in universities, like that I want to apply in the only in the top US schools or in the Ivy League, so you can set that priority there, and then trying to find that research group or a certain professors whom you actually like. And unlike like, one of the points I wanted to mention is that don't do databasing or make a list of the professor you want to mail to. You actually sit for one day, learn about that group's research work, how does it align with your current standing, and then write a mail, very very serious mail. And why I'm saying this, like when I wrote my mail, which got me here at UIUC, I actually wrote it to the HOD, head of the department, and he actually took it very very on a serious note. And it was because of him only that I was able to get a research internship at UIUC eventually, and also a PhD offer. So, and like the third point is also very important, like not everything will happen in the way you think. It won't happen, like even if you think like you have planned everything and it would go almost according to the plan, it's very very uh, you could say unpredictable actually. So because like unlike the summer research programs uh, which I had applied to, cold mailing is like totally different. You only do cold mailing you are when you are genuinely interested in that topic. So like when you are searching for this topic, so this is one part of it is the research, and in between is the opportunity, and that opportunity can come via the intersection of which you have, like you, if you had a resume point, or you are in already working in that domain, or you actually had your core department itself aligns with your research, or you're exceptionally good at academics, due to which the professor from the you could say whom like you are who's inviting you is interested, or your department professor recommends you on academic basis for that opportunity. So so why I'm saying this, in all the always don't keep your email too much focused. Try to generalize it first to some level that you can work in any research topic actually, because the main purpose of research is not to like publish uh, different manuscript. It is to like create an impact, and also show that to a degree you have taken up a challenge which you were able to overcome, and show at every evaluation of it. Like because like in when we are doing research projects, most of it is like you have weekly evaluation. So that is a thing when you are eventually going for your interviews for a research intern. This would be something which like the PhD or like the prof itself would be seeing, like how much iterations you are going through. So what matters? Like so particularly in the cold mail, your words create the first impression. Effective writing would give you like more opportunities, and focus on self-written content rather than LLM generated proposal and writing. And to be very very serious note, don't use LLMs actually. Try writing mails, and the professor himself and his PhDs who are reading those mails would recognize also like that the person is genuinely interested and has gone through a degree of, you would say like a research, he has gone through a lot of research articles written by our group. And wants to learn something and come up with his new own innovation in this field, and it can be done via our group. So, and also like the fourth point, like be honest in your academic standing and CV. How much, uh, like everything should be like be honest. Like whatever you have, it won't like create. It actually, the fourth point is like honesty would matter, but your academic standing is not something that would be taken on a very serious note. So that is the thing. And to whom to mail, as previously said, that you can go through many research articles in which you would find the name of the professor or like the research group, and then you can actually start going through the research work, and then eventually you draft a mail accordingly, in which you talk about yourself first, introduction, then you start introducing the work you have done, and then how you are trying to solve new problems, and how the this thought of problem solving is aligned with the group or the research like the professor you have mailed to. And the final, like if you are going through the let's suppose like you have been talking with the professor on like daily basis now, but and now he tells you to articulate a research plan, like how would you be conducting your research, the timeline and all. So always keep some gaps in between, like even in research interns it's not possible to work on, you could say, hourly basis. So we keep some gaps in between, like it should be something which is achievable, and try to build a very like this is something like even if you are mailing the professor for the first time, you can actually create the research plan previously also and tell him that in the coming 3 months I have thought to do research under you, and this is my plan. So even the profs are also like would be very impressed by that you have actually come up with a plan, how are you going to certain things. And like that is the thing, like the plan should be in your mind, and that is like seen by the professor evaluating you. And this is on the final note, that whatever happens, like you should actually know that you are not losing, you either win or learn. So there would be many times when you are apping but there is no response. But the thing is like sometimes you would get a response from professor on what was actually wrong, you can actually ask them how it can be better. So that is the point where you can like improve. And it happened me with a lot, because like in all the previous interns there was some, you could say, slight mistake in the literature or the SOP I'm writing, but the professors are quite nice, they are able to educate you on that. So that is the thing. And to begin with, like this is my contact I've given. And to also like just to let you know about my current standing at UIUC. So um, so yes, so about my current standing is like when I came to the university, like on the first day I was like pretty much overwhelmed by everything, like the research group and the talks here are held, and what can be actually how to apply to like good schools. Like people also like encourage you to go to further big like top schools in the US, whether it's like MIT or like Stanford or Berkeley. So like but the main purpose of research, like whenever you are writing your mail, shouldn't be just to conduct the research. It should demonstrate certain level of impact. And I'm repeating this, the reason is like because like eventually it can improve your life a lot actually, even if you like get something out of that impact. So yes, and like there's too much to learn actually. Like I have learned the SOP writing. Firstly, I learned from my previous professors about the like the grammatical mistake is something you shouldn't do, even if when you are in the interview for your internship, and you are suppose you are showing them your manuscript, and that manuscript which you are showing shouldn't have some the punctuation errors also. Like the profs there are so elegant that you would see like they are able to catch that mistake. So these are the things which you need to like watch out, and that is all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Siddharth. Whatever you have shared, like I think is really helpful. Sometimes you miss, sometimes you will miss the opportunity on research programs, right? But you can always
Hmm.
reach out and cold email a lot of professors. So
Hmm.
thank you so much, Siddharth. So uh, once like this is, we can start Q&A section. Whatever doubt you guys have, just feel free to ask the speakers. They will be happy to answer. So Prisha is asking, can you share a sample of a cold email of this sort, please? Siddharth, do we have a sample? Or just can you walk through how you can write a good cold email?
Just a minute. So I can actually show you the email I wrote.
Yeah,
Just uh,
I think you can also cover Dikshit is asking what should be follow-up strategy. So you can cover that as well.
okay. Just a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Till then, I'll just address like one question about word limits that was there in the chat. So, if you are like facing issues on like narrowing down your content within the word limit, the easiest way to is to just eliminate the least impactful experience that you have. But sometimes you can also club like two experiences, two projects. You can club them if they are similar. So sometimes grouping things that are in the same domain can also help. And sometimes you can just cut short your introduction as well. Like if you think the projects that you have are really really impactful, then you can just make your introduction a little shorter, or some of the personal sentences that you have written about your opinions or your learnings or your journey, maybe you can just cut that out or group it for like two projects or three projects. So yeah, that is something you can always cut short on, but you don't want it to be just scientific. So yeah, like you said, the balance is pretty much the key. But yeah, clubbing things will usually help.
So I can actually show you the just to like screen share this one.
Thank you, Kadambari.
Is it visible?
Vedant, we will
This
answer
one?
your question in a second. Yeah,
Yes.
Siddharth, you can
Is
go
it?
ahead.
Yes.
Yes, yes, it's visible.
So
Yeah.
yes. So like I've like removed the personal details and all. So like this was the kind of email I wrote. Like I start with a general introduction and what like wanted to like you just like write your interest first also, like, and then you start explaining about yourself more and detailed work like what you have done actually in the past. And like the thing was like I didn't write for a particularly, even I didn't wrote about giving me about a summer's research internship. That's the main point I missed to mention. I wrote them that I only wanted to learn from him actually. So he was actually very, you could say, impressed by the thought that without any pay or something, I just wanted to learn. Learning was like prioritized by me always. So yes, so this was the mail I sent to the HOD here, head of the department. And so you can actually, we can actually send this. I think we can Google Docs using. We can share this one.
Sure.
Okay.
Can you
So,
just also include like the follow-up? After how many days we should follow up? I think that was the question.
but like generally, I don't think you would need a follow up. Like most of the as Kadambari had mentioned, like if you are sending your mail at the right time, like you know at to which university in what place of the world you are sending, so make sure that they get the mail early in the day, like in the morning or something. That is like the finest time actually. So you won't need any follow up, like even then.
Okay, thank you. Kadambari, would you like to add any points here?
No, I think, I mean, yes, that covered it very well. Yeah, usually follow-ups, I usually followed up after a week if I really wanted a reply from that professor, but sometimes you still don't get it. So I think after one or max to max two follow-ups, you should probably just not waste your time following up.
Sure, thank you. And Vedant is asking if my interest is not in the core degree, which I am doing now, can I have the chance for it like I have did many projects in the domain of my interest?
Yes, like that is the thing. Like even the current work I am working on, so it doesn't include like my core actually. There's nothing my core included in that. It's just like you have elementary physics and machine learning to some extent. So yes, like because when you are searching for research internships, even if your domain like the domain in actually which your research would be conducted is not in your resume or something, the professor can actually reach out to you giving an offer. And the reason is why, because research is particularly a domain in which you take up a challenge, whether it is like any mathematical foundational work or like experimental work that is like demonstrated already in your resume. So like even if your resume doesn't contain that kind of work, you actually can mail him convincing him. So it's okay actually.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and
And
like,
okay,
I
okay,
think,
go ahead.
no, I think if you like, if I think Vedantas also said that maybe he has done some projects in that interest, like domain of interest. So if you have done projects, then I think that is really great because you can choose what to highlight in your mail. And like Siddharth said, you can always show the eagerness to learn and explore that field. And you can also try to highlight, if you get an interview with that professor, you can try to highlight overlaps between your core and the domain of interest that you have, because there's always like some engineering principles that you can apply to any field. So you can just highlight that in case someone asks you like, hey, you are in this field, why do you want to work in this field? So you can just talk about some of the overlaps and general things that you have learned in your core that you can also apply in whatever area that you want to work in. So I think then you should be good.
And to like answer this, like Ayush has asked, what's the general CPI cutoff for top universities? So to mention, like for the summer research programs which are there, there is some CPI cutoff. But when you are cold mailing, and to be honest, like there is actually no CPI cutoff. You can actually, even if your CPI is like 7.2, 7.5, or 7.6 or 7.8, like any, even if it's like between 7 or 8, you can actually do a great intern at some like even in Stanford or Berkeley. It would all matter how your research is actually, how you think, how diverse or like how dynamic ideas you can bring into the picture. So that is the main aspect. And don't be overwhelmed by like majority of the people are coming from like top CGPA in for top interns. In eventually when you get to the United States, like a nation like United States, it's quite liberal. Like you have people coming from Bachelor of Psychology or Bachelor of Literature also working in PhD in engineering. So actually, it won't matter. So yes.
Thank you, Siddharth. Kadambari, would you like to add any point?
Yeah, no, I think yeah, it depends on like it like a lot of people who have like some great research experience in a particular field, regardless of their CPI, do end up getting like good opportunities. So yeah, nothing more to add.
And I think you should all like this question should also be answered. Like, what is the like general CPI cutoff for all these research programs? Is there a CPI cutoff?
Usually there is no CPI cutoff. You may need to mention your CPI in like the application or like submit your transcript. So you need to like reveal your academic position, but there's no cutoff for like applying, as far as I know.
Okay, got it. So moving on to the next question.
Yeah.
Priyanshi is asking what should be the ratio of specific and general in SOP or mail? Like, wouldn't mentioning the prof and the research make it very specific and less flexible?
Yeah. So like at least for the SOP, uh, this was also asked by someone in like the session that I attended at Caltech. So uh, so like you are not mentioning one professor. Ideally, at the end of your SOP in the last para, you will mention like two, three labs that you think you would fit in well. Uh, and then you can also have a particular statement saying that given all this, I'm really excited to work at this university and in this field of my choice. So I mean, you are just showing that if you don't mention any professor or lab, then it just shows that you have, it just doesn't convey to the person who's reading it that you have read up anything about the department that you're applying to, about any of the work that is being done in the department. So if you obviously you should not just mention one professor, because that is very specific and highly likely that you may not get selected, because what if that one professor just is not able to take you? So you should mention like at least three professors or labs, in my opinion. Like two to three is a good number, and then just end it on a general note. I think that would be a good balance, in my opinion. But yeah, Siddharth, do you want to add something?
No, like generalization, like it depends. Even in the research group, like you are what your current standing is, like what previous research you have done or like previous projects you have done, how you are actually generalizing it. Like, but try giving a broader aspect actually about yourself when you are like. I think that's like he's asking like if you are like writing your mail or like SOP, how you are generalizing about yourself. Like you can take up any challenge actually. So like even if you mention your field or something, like you are being specific, it actually demonstrates that you can take on anything. So it's okay.
Okay, got it. Prisha is asking what is the ideal number of cold emails that should be sent per week roughly?
So per week actually you can try writing 2 or 3 cold mails, and keep your cold mails very structured. Like as I was speaking about, like you need to uh, like research a lot about whichever professor you're writing to, like what kind of work he has done, what like how what work he has given to the PhDs, even like what topics his PhDs are working on. So like that is the thing.
Okay,
And also like I forgot to mention, like when you are specifically applying to the US top schools or universities, keep in mind like every professor has some grants issued on certain projects or in a certain domain, so can actually go through, because like those grants are something interns can work on, and the professor can then fund your internship entirely. So yes.
okay. Kadambari, would you like to add anything else?
No, I think, yeah, nothing more to add.
Okay. So guys, do you have any other questions? We can take two more questions, 2 to 3 more questions. Anything that you want more clarification on, anything about research? Yeah, I think there are no questions, so we can end this session. Okay, Shreya is asking, can you please go through the structure of a cold email once again?
So I can share actually again my screen. Like, is it visible?
Yes, it's visible. Yeah.
So keep your subject, like, you can. I had kept actually very very specific my subject, because I knew like what domain in, like what he works in, like the professor. So yes, this is the intro part which you can read. This would be visible. Uh, yes, this is just a brief introduction, and then you start telling about yourself, like what work you have done, and then you can talk like then you actually can start developing the plot or something. We would say that, why are you interested, like, and like what you actually want to do, like with the, like, in the domain in which like the professor is doing research or his group is like doing research. So this is the thing, like, this was a very very short email, so but still, like, it inculcates a lot of things.
I think we can share this in the group as well, so everyone can see how a general cold email should
Yes,
look like.
yes.
Yeah, sure. So Riyanshi is asking ideal time, what is the ideal time to start apping and mailing? Should we start it after having certain number of projects done? Adambari, would you like to
Probably.
answer this or Siddharth?
Like, I think, after you have done some, like, if you are in your autumn semester and you have taken some R&D project or SLP, or like, that should be completed actually. You should have that, like, if you are like you are already writing something, so make sure that that is complete actually. So after that you can mail.
Yeah, uh, yeah, like ideally at least one, you should be like having at least the experience of one project. For me, like I took up a proper prof project in my fourth, wait, sorry, third semester, and that like towards the end of third semester was when I started apping. So yeah, at least you can write in the mail that, you know, currently I'm working with this professor on this thing. And ideally in the same field as wherever you want to apply. So it just shows that you have some background on it and that you are not completely new. So at least one project would be good enough.
I thank
And
you, Kadambari and Siddharth.
yeah, and I like answering the next question. I usually used to just use webmail because it helps to have like the .iitb.ac.in to show that you're genuinely from IIT Bombay. But yeah, Siddharth, do you have any suggestions?
No, no. Yes, like that's the point. Like, you should use your webmail. The webmail would be your strongest point in the cold mail actually. So yes.
Thank you. So Shekhar is asking, considering that the cold email and the SOP would have a similar content, What are the differences in how you should write these?
Like
So
when you are
yeah.
like
So that you can
like,
continue.
yes, like when you are writing the cold mail, you don't have to like think about your SOP actually, because SOP is something I suppose like it's already like you write only for programs when you are applying to programs. So like the structure of cold mail is very different actually from SOP. In SOP, you present yourself as a researcher and uh, make your plot on that actually. But when you are cold mailing, you introduce yourself as a learner. And in what I mean, the difference between a researcher and a learner is that there should be some eagerness shown by you, or the impact which I was talking about, like the that you have learned something you didn't haven't learned in core, but eventually you have learned and you have come up with an impact. And this is something which actually you cannot write in your SOP. In the SOP, this would be a very structured thing. So yes.
Okay, thank you, Siddha. We can take one last question. Okay, so Prisha is asking, since you said it's better to start apping also after you have taken up a project in third sem, how do you suggest getting a project in the third semester? Kadambari, would you like to answer this?
Oh yeah. So like okay, okay, I might have messed up on the semester number. So basically, I did my first prof project after my second year summer. So okay, whatever semester that is, I'm sorry for the number. But if you want to do a project in your third sem, or like I think what me and Siddharth meant was that you can start working with a professor at IIT Bombay, for which you do not need to have any prior research experience. Like any semester, wherever you want to start getting a project for, you can just reach out to any professor in the field that you like and tell him that, hey, this is something that excites me, I really want to learn something. And then he'll basically give you some research papers to read probably in the beginning, or connect you with someone in his lab like a PhD student, and then you work with them over the semester or in your winter break or summer break, and then that's how you basically get the first exposure to research, and only then can you have like a foundation to apply for any of the programs or for a different university out of campus, etc. So that's what I feel. uh yeah, so that, do you want to add something?
Yes, also like many departments have supervised learning project and R&D. So you can actually mail the professor who is assigned to, like actually you can see in the SC who is the professor responsible, and actually you can go and meet him in person. And then like you can start actually anything. Like in mechanical, it used to be a very open thing that you can just mail the professor in charge of the R&D of, or like a supervised learning project, and like try working out with him, or take him as an additional guide and work with another professor. So yes.
Okay, thank you, Siddharth and Kadambari. So I think we can wrap this session. So, okay, we can take just one last question. So Shreya is asking, is it feasible to work under a prof during semester, or should we approach them during summer or winter break? We can take
So
this last question. Okay.
yeah, so like in my experience, what you can do is in the holidays, like before a particular semester, you can look at the different faculty members in any department that you want to work in, and you can just start by writing them one mail, or a mail to someone in their lab, even at IIT Bombay. And then you just tell them that you want to work with them in the semester, and that right now, because you are on a holiday break, you can start reading up about the project, you can start having some initial meeting or discussion to get to know about what work you should do, and like you can start preparing yourself for the project, and then you maximize your semester, like the work that you do in the semester, because once the semester starts, everyone's really busy with courses, even professors have to teach and stuff. So then by the time you actually have a meet with the professor and discuss the feasibility of working with him, it's already like a month or a month and a half, and then it just saves you time if you do all of that in the holidays. So you can start reaching out to professors in the break and then work in the semester, or you can reach out to them at the end of a semester and tell them that you want to work with them during the break. So whatever you want to do, you have to start a little bit before that so that you can maximize the time that you will get working with them.
Okay, got it. So I think we can wrap this session. And first of all, everyone, I would like you all to thank Kadambari and Siddharth, because in the US, like right now is a very late night. It's probably 2 to 4 a.m. So I think it would be really great if you can thank both of them. And I think we can wrap this session. So also tomorrow in the our interview preparation boot camp, tomorrow will be covering soft skills and HR. So you can join that session as well. So thank you so much, Siddharth and Kadambari, for joining in. We can end this, I think.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes, thank you so much.